hi everybody. You're just in time for the great unboxing. An organization called Open Books has donated several new books to our school library. Not just our library, I want to add. They've donated books to all of the district's elementary schools. That's 10 schools, 12 books each, for a total of 120 books donated. And I'm just really excited to open up this box. Can't wait to show you what's in it. It comes with a really nice letter from the Open Books Executive Director saying, "Thank you for working to create a safe and inclusive school library with stories that authentically represent diverse identities." All right, so first out of the box we have Melissa by Alex Gino. I read this book a few years ago and I loved it. You know, this book really pioneered stories told from the perspective of a transgender young person. And I think this book really opened the doors to more books being published and reaching the hands of readers that really spoke to that identity. Okay, The Civil War of Amos Abernathy by Michael Leely. I read this. This is another book that I read and enjoyed a little while ago as an ebook, and so I'm really looking forward to having a physical copy here in our school library. Be Who You Are by Todd Parr. Folks, Todd Parr has this sort of signature style with these bright, vivid colors, and the messages are always so inclusive and accepting. I think a lot of kids will really enjoy this book. Sparkle Boy by Leslie Newman with illustrations by Maria Mola. I'd heard of this book, hadn't had a chance to read it, and so this is going to be a real treat for me, seeing books coming out of this box that I hadn't previously read, and being able to read them now and offer them to students. Well, I think it will really enrich our school library. Sharice's Big Voice, a Native kid becomes a congresswoman. Well, this looks like a great addition to our biographies. It was actually written by the Congresswoman, Sharice Davids, with Nancy K. Mays, and it looks like it features illustrations by Joshua Mengesig Powis Steckley. Calvin, written by J.R. and Vanessa Ford, illustrated by Kayla Heron. This book is part of the Welcoming Schools curriculum, which many of our staff members are going through the trainings. I know I always learn so much every time I sit in on a training. Annie's Plaid Shirt by Stacy B. Davids, illustrated by Rachael Balsaitis. You know, when I've read this book to students in the class, one thing that really stood out for me is the very vivid facial expressions. I like to point out the facial expressions and, you know, encourage the students to, I guess, decipher them. This book is really great for that purpose, as well as telling a compelling story. Pride, the story of Harvey Milk and the rainbow flag. Well, the impact he made continues to be felt, and so this will be another great addition to our biographies. The Boy and the Bindi, written by Vivek Shiria and illustrated by Rajni Pereira. I'll admit I hadn't been familiar with this book before, and so this is another one I'm really excited about exploring for myself and then sharing with young readers. The Bravest Knight Who Ever Lived, written by Daniel Errico, illustrated by Shiloh Penfield. Folks, I just love the bright and colorful illustrations on the cover of this book. I mean, check out, his helmet is a pumpkin. Doesn't that just make you want to open up the book and find out what happens? Anyway, it looks like a fun story just from the very animated and colorful illustrations. I think this book will make for a very fun read. Miguel's Community Garden, written by Janae Brown Wood and illustrated by Samara Hardy. Well, I don't know if you can make out what's currently printed on my shirt, but maybe you can make out my hat, my pin. If you can see those things, then you'll know that I just love sunflowers. And so I just love the bright and vivid illustrations on the cover of this book. Really looking forward to reading it out loud to some kids. And the last book out of the box here is Red by Michael Hall. Truly a classic. What happens when the color of your wrapper doesn't match the color of the crayon? I think it just broke down concepts of inclusion, of accepting people for who they are, in very easy to understand metaphor. This is a perennial favorite. Yeah, it's great to have another copy here in the library. Look forward to sharing it with the kids in the school. So anyway, what can I say? I'm just so pleased that Open Books decided to grace us with these wonderful additions to the school library. Happy reading, everybody.